This is an analysis from Alpha Business Media.
Right now, in the heart of the Himalayas, there's a quiet revolution going on that's reshaping an entire economy. We're talking about Nepal's financial sector, where a really high-stakes battle is playing out between the traditional banking giants and these new, agile fintech startups. So in this explainer, we're going to break down who's winning, who's losing, and what all of this really means for the future of business in Nepal.
Okay, to really get what's at stake here, we have to start with just one number, 1,410 US dollars. That's Nepal's annual per capita income. Now, this isn't just some random statistic. It's the economic reality that makes this whole digital finance revolution not just a cool trend, but an absolute national necessity for growth. So here's how we're going to walk through it. We'll start with the economic reasons driving all this change. Then we'll look at the arrival of fintech, how the traditional banks are fighting back, and the competitive showdown that's happening right now. After that, we'll see how this is actually fueling business growth, and finally, what the road ahead looks like. So first up, that economic imperative. You see, for decades, Nepal's growth was kind of stuck, held back by an old-school financial system that just wasn't very efficient and couldn't reach everybody. This created this huge need for something new, a problem that, as it turns out, digital finance is perfectly built to solve. And that's where fintech comes storming in. We're talking about a whole new wave of tech-savvy companies that are moving fast and giving people what they want, cheaper, easier ways to handle their money. You know, they're not just building apps, they are literally rewriting the rules of the financial game in Nepal. Now, this didn't happen overnight. The first seeds were planted way back. But the real catalyst, the thing that hit the fast-forward button on everything, the COVID-19 pandemic. Suddenly, a digital wallet wasn't just a convenience, it was a necessity. And that just supercharged adoption across the entire country. And the data, well, the data tells a pretty incredible story. Just look at these growth numbers from the last fiscal year. I mean, mobile banking's growth is impressive, sure, but the jump in QR code transactions, it's staggering. This isn't just a small shift, it's a fundamental change in how people are doing business. Let's just zero in on that most mind-blowing figure, over 117% growth in the volume of QR code payments. This is a perfect example of what experts call leapfrogging. Instead of taking the slow, expensive route of building out credit card systems, Nepal is just jumping right over that, straight to mobile-first payments. It's a model that's just perfect for their market. So, you've got this fintech explosion happening. What about the big, established commercial banks, the old guard? Well, are they just standing still and watching it happen? No way. They are fighting back. And they're doing it by going digital themselves. The banks are playing it smart, actually. They have this two-part strategy. On one hand, they're building their own digital apps and services, but on the other hand, they're partnering with the very fintechs that are challenging them. You see Nabil Bank teaming up with Cashmallow, or NIC Asia Bank pushing into rural areas. It's this pragmatic mix of build it yourself and partner up. And all of this sets the stage for the main event, really. A competitive showdown in the digital arena. You've got the trusted, established giants versus the fast, innovative startups. It's a classic battle. Which brings us to the million-dollar question, right? In this new digital world, who actually has the edge? Who's in a better position to win the trust and the business of the Nepalese people? Let's break it down. In one corner, you have the traditional banks. Their huge advantage, customer trust and deep pockets. But they're also slow, weighed down by regulations and old ways of thinking. In the other corner, you have the fintechs. They're the exact opposite. Super flexible, great user experience, but they start with very little trust and rely on investors. So the key takeaway here is that each side's greatest strength is also tied to its greatest weakness. And if you dig a little deeper, you can see the specific hurdles the banks are up against. They're often running on old, clunky IT systems that are a nightmare to update. Their corporate culture can be resistant to change. They've got a mountain of regulations to deal with, and it's really hard for them to find people with the cutting-edge digital skills they need. But you know, while the banks and fintechs are busy competing, maybe the focus should be somewhere else. Because the real winners in this whole transformation are Nepal's businesses, especially the small and medium-sized ones. And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of it. By using new kinds of data, like a shop's transaction history, these digital platforms can give loans to businesses that were completely invisible to the old banking system. This could help close a massive $3.6 billion financing gap for small businesses in Nepal. That's a game changer.
So just imagine you're a small business owner there. It's a pretty clear path. First, you start accepting digital payments. That right there makes your life easier. Then you can start selling to more people online. And here's the crucial part. Every single one of those transactions builds a digital history, which is exactly what you need to finally get a loan to grow your business.
Okay, so what does the road ahead look like? The potential for a fully digital Nepal is obviously huge, but let's be realistic. It's not going to be a walk in the park. There's still some pretty big obstacles to overcome.
The biggest challenges are really about people. You have low digital literacy, which is a major barrier. Internet access is still pretty spotty, with only about 38% of households having it regularly. And of course, some people are still worried about security and whether they can trust these new systems. Closing this digital divide is the next big national project. So to keep moving forward, it's really got to be a team effort. The banks need to speed up their tech upgrades and change how they think. The fintechs have to make security their top priority to build that trust. And the government and regulators, they need to invest in the basic digital highways and in education programs for everyone. And this all leaves us with one final big question to think about. As all these forces keep mixing and reshaping the financial world in Nepal, what's the end game? Will it be defined by fierce competition? Or will it be about strategic collaboration? Or are we watching a complete reinvention of the whole system from the ground up?
This has been an analysis from Alpha Business Media.